Hello, it's Feather, and today I'm going to be doing my May wrap-up. So May was really busy for me. I was helping out at the hospital in their education program, and so I was teaching there for 3 weeks, and when I came home I didn't really have time to read. I had to lesson plan, I had to write up reports, I had to grade things. But now it's summer break and I don't have to do anything. I can stay home and read all day long if I want to. So June, I'm hoping to do a massive wrap-up. But for May, I only read 3 books. And I'm still impressed with that because honestly, I read those 3 books in this last week where I didn't have anything to do. So yeah, without any further ado, I'll get started. So the first book I read I don't have with me. I had to take it back to the library when I finished it because it was a month overdue, which is a little embarrassing, but what can you do when you need to finish a book and you can't renew it? But I also feel a little guilty because the reason I couldn't renew it is because there are other people waiting for it. Yeah, anyway, so that book was A Court of Mist and Fury by Sarah J. Maas. Super popular book, and now I need to get A Court of Wings and Ruin because it came out at the beginning of May. As you saw, the rest of the Bluestocking Bells and I went book shopping, and I convinced Rose and Olive to pick up the Court of Thorns and Roses series, and they picked up the first 2 books, and none of us picked up the last book. There's only 1 copy there, and it wasn't on sale, so we'll eventually get to the 3rd one. I'm hoping very soon. I'm sure it will be a mile-long waiting list on hold at the library, so I'll see if I can scrounge up some dollars and perhaps pick it up at a bookstore. I actually can't tell you anything about A Court of Mist and Fury because the whole entire plot line is a spoiler to the first book. But I will tell you about the first book, A Court of Thorns and Roses. It is a somewhat of a Beauty and the Beast retelling, but it's set in a world with fae and magic, and it's really good. The world building is really good. I actually gave it a 3 stars because I thought the ending was a little bit cheesy. I thought the Beauty and the Beast elements were they were woven in really well, but at the end it was a little too much for me. I was like, not believable. I didn't like the villain. I know a lot of people say that they like the villain. I did not think she was realistic and, again, cheesy. But I will say I gave A Court of Mist and Fury 4 stars. I liked it so much more. I thought the plot twists and turns were so much more intricate and detailed. The villain in this one is a lot better. The love interest is very fine. This whole series has a lot of problematic things in it. The relationships are not perfect. It's also a very non-diverse cast. Although, okay, so a little bit of explanation. Sarah J. Maas uses the idea of imprinting. So basically your soulmate, you'll imprint on your soulmate and they will be your mate for life. It's just who you're destined to be with. A little cliche, but I am trash for it. Yeah, so all the relationships up to what I've read thus far, I'm not sure if this changes in A Court of Wings and Ruin, but all the relationships thus far are heteronormative, but Sarah J. Maas did say that it is possible to imprint on someone of the same gender or perhaps non-binary. I'm not sure if she said non-binary, but I'm throwing that in because that's my dream, that's my hope and dream. Yeah, so that's that book. I would recommend you pick them both up because even though I didn't rate them like 5 stars, they're still highly enjoyable. Just remember that there's some problematic things in there, but the writing sucks you in. The world is beautiful, the fae are lovely, and especially if you like Beauty and the Beast. I told Rose to read these books because she loves Beauty and the Beast. Anyway, moving on. So the next book I read in the month of May was A Quiet Kind of Thunder, and I loved this one. I think I gave it 4 or 5 stars, probably 4 stars. It's not like super groundbreaking, but it was so good. I've been waiting for a long time to read an anxiety book that I can connect with. This is the first one so far. I find that a lot of anxiety books or mental health books in general a lot of the times there's a relationship involved, and the relationship is what cures the protagonist, and that was not the case at all in this book, which I thought was so good. And this is actually one of the most realistic and relatable depictions of anxiety that I have ever read. The main character has social anxiety and selective mutism, and I actually had selective mutism until I was about 8 years old, and I felt a lot of the same things that this character did. How a lot of people would ask my parents, is she mute? Is she deaf? Does she talk? Yeah, stuff like that. And I still have social anxiety to this day. I also have a generalized anxiety disorder and panic disorder and a whole bunch of other stuff. So I love to find books that I can connect to and relate to and are actually promoting healthy and realistic recovery. And this was exactly what I've been looking for. The main character, she starts taking meds. This is a very med positive book, and they do help her, but they're not like miraculous. She's also doing therapy, which again is helpful but not miraculous. And then she meets a boy, and this boy is deaf, so she's able to communicate with him in sign language, and they, of course, they fall in love. But the thing about this book is he doesn't cure her. He's just a form of a support system, and the reason they connect is because they can communicate with each other. And she's previously had troubles communicating with people she doesn't know, but with him, she's very comfortable speaking in sign language. So yeah, I would highly recommend this. I thought it was so good, such good representation. And then the last book I read in the month of May, actually technically I finished this June 1st, but I need to take it back to the library, so I'm including it in my May wrap up, and that is Finale. I have finally finished the Hush Hush. I have finally finished the Hush Hush series. I'm glad I did. The series is, I've said in my reviews before, this series is basically Twilight but with fallen angels instead of vampires. And so in the same way of Twilight, it's addicting, it sucks you in, but it's highly problematic, it's not very good, and it's not something that young girls should be reading and encouraged to read. But like, I have to say, especially the first two books were kind of my guilty pleasure. I did like them. They were addicting. The last two, I gave them 2 stars. I gave Finale as well 2 stars. They just got bad. The ending, it just felt like Becca Fitzpatrick wasn't invested anymore. She just wanted to get it over and done with. That's what it felt like to me. In the first 2 books, there were actually some creepy twists and turns that I thought were really intriguing and captivating, but in the next 2 books, Silence and Finale, they were just cheesy. It wasn't good. And to top it all off, there was a lot of problematic things in this book. So quick summary of the plot. Patch is a fallen angel. He falls in love with Nora. That's basically all you need to know. Honestly, that was enough to intrigue me to pick up the series because I like the idea of stories about fallen angels. I was highly drawn into that. Patch is highly possessive, controlling, and overprotective, to the point where he doesn't let Nora make her own decisions, he makes them for her. Nora is whiny, she's overly jealous, she won't let Patch talk to any women without throwing a tantrum. And then there are 2 things in this book that just threw me and I was so upset with. The first one being the mean girl in school. Her name's Marcy, and she is described as a slut and an anorexic, which you do not equate those 2 things to villainous qualities. You just don't. You don't mock eating disorders, and you don't slut shame women. So upset with that. And then the second thing, just as bad, at the end, this won't spoil anything, but a police officer comes up to her and tells her to cut her wrist, and it's supposed to be super symbolic, but just thought that was not appropriate at all. I just thought that Becca Fitzpatrick could have chosen some other symbolic act other than cutting your wrists, just in my opinion. Anyway, I'm now done the series. This is now behind me. That is all for my May wrap-up. I'm excited for June. I'm hoping to have a big TBR because I'm hoping to read a lot in June. And I can't wait to talk to you guys again. See you later. Have a great day. Bye!